Hey guys, welcome back to another weekly episode of
The Bite is Right.
I'm Zoe Hunter.
I'm Charmian Holmes.
I'm Matthew Taylor.
I'm Tyrese Midzika.
And on today's topic of conversation is going to be about the vegan debate. So, is anyone vegan?
No.
No.
No, I'm not.
No, nor am I. But do you know any vegans?
My flatmate is vegan, and I was asking her about this last night, and she was like, she says that animals deserve like the same human rights. Oh no, the same rights as humans.
Yeah. Who do you know, Ty?
I know one who used to go to my secondary school in sixth form.
Okay, Matthew?
I don't know anyone.
I know a few people who are vegan. My boyfriend's mum's vegan, a couple of my friends, but they're not, most people I know aren't strict vegans.
Yeah, most people I know are vegetarians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know a lot more vegetarians than I
Yeah.
do vegans. So many people vegetarian. I went vegetarian for like a month, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it either.
I did it as a
Was it like
I did it as a
New Year's resolution?
yes, a New Year's resolution. I was like, what,
Yeah, because that's
14?
like a thing like Veganuary where
Yes,
people
yes.
go vegan.
That's a new thing though, definitely a new thing. That wasn't around when I was 11. So, what is a vegan? The definition, I searched it up, is a person who does not eat or use any animal products such as meat, fish, eggs, cheese, or leather. And I thought that was really interesting because I didn't know that vegans weren't allowed to use leather.
Well, it's
and I
all
think-
animal products though, so
Yeah, I know, but I didn't think of leather as being an animal product, but of course it is. And me and Matthew were discussing it yesterday that some cars are vegan.
what?
Yeah, as in like Land Rover has the vegan leather.
I think
Yeah.
Tesla do as well.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Tesla seems like they'd be vegan. But you know Superdry, they
Yeah.
had like vegan shoes, and on the bottom of the soles it said like vegan underneath
Oh my
it.
gosh.
I know, it's quite
That's
a
insane.
That's so weird.
it's quite a big thing. But when I say the word vegan, what type of person comes to mind?
In my opinion, a person who loves animals and cares about the environment, and usually they're very like politically left
Oh
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
very
care
much
about
agree.
social justice and
Yeah.
are against inequality in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely very stereotypical. Like everyone thinks about like this person who wants to save the world and all
Yeah.
that.
Mine's very stereotypical. I said as a person who is young, slim, dresses very earthy and has a cool hairstyle.
Like a hippie.
Yeah, no, literally, yeah. That is what comes to mind. What about you, Matthew?
Maybe sort of like a sort of young person, but then it could be an older person who's sort
Yeah.
of like
Mhm.
seen like their grandkids or something.
Like the vegan teacher.
Oh my god, yeah, we'll get on to that.
It's crazy.
Having our opinions on someone who's vegan and then thinking about who we know in real life who is vegan doesn't really line up, because saying that I think it's someone who's young and dresses very earthy with cool hairstyle, my boyfriend's mum isn't like that, but she's vegan, and she's vegan because of health reasons. It helps her with cut that out. She's vegan for health reasons, and then other people I know, they're vegan just because of the earth, obviously, like your friend Ty. But
I was just going off based on her because she fits what I described.
yeah. Do you feel like, having said our descriptions on what we feel a vegan is, do you feel like there's a stigma around vegans?
Yes.
Yeah, quite obviously
Yeah.
from what we've all said.
Yeah.
And about the vegan teacher? Those who are on
To be-
TikTok, you might know about this crazy vegan teacher.
She's
But,
insane.
Yeah, in our research, we kind of brought her up. But she's a lady who is obviously vegan, fits my stereotype quite well. But she's one of these type of vegans that seems to push her beliefs
Yeah,
on
yeah.
other people, and she makes quite insane videos about animal cruelty.
I feel that's what a lot of people see vegans as being.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what pushes the stigma
Like
for
they
sure.
have a holier than thou attitude towards people who are not vegans.
Yeah. And thinking about it as well, when you I don't know if you've ever come across them, but like outside a train station, for example, or maybe it could be just like in the university, there's people who have those like giant banners and they're like pictures of animals getting slaughtered and stuff. Like I've come across. Have you not seen
never
this?
seen that.
Wait, this is definitely a unique experience. Wait, there was a woman who was covered in blood, like fake blood,
What?
I'm assuming, with pictures. This is a thing. You're making me sound crazy. This is a thing.
I thought this was only in movies.
No, and then they have, it's like to stop animal cruelty, and it's like videos of animals getting slaughtered and stuff, which is like, it's unfortunate, but it definitely won't push me into veganism. Definitely won't. So do you feel that veganism is an inconvenience?
If you want to get fit, then yeah.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like if you need protein and stuff.
Yeah,
because
then
like,
vegan.
a lot
I
of it
think
lacks the
nothing.
necessary nutrients that you need. I wouldn't call myself a nutritionist, but I did take food science. So.
Yeah. I think that's very valid. But I definitely think you can be an athlete.
You can,
If
but
you were
like
vegan,
it's just
it would
harder.
be so much harder though.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I feel like you'd get so fatigued quickly, like much faster. But I think it depends what sport you're in as well. If you're a bodybuilder,
Oh,
you
yeah,
definitely couldn't
not.
be a vegan. I don't even think you could be a vegetarian. I think you'd have to incorporate like meat into your
Definitely,
diet
'cause you
some
need
way.
that
Yeah.
protein just to.
100%. But if you're like maybe a speed, like an endurance runner or like long distance, any type of runner, I feel like maybe you might be
Yeah,
able to
I
be
feel like
vegan because it's
maybe.
mostly carbohydrates that you need. But from a different perspective of food chains, do you feel that veganism is an inconvenience?
There's probably not a sort of lot on like restaurant menus.
Yeah.
More vegetarian probably than vegan at the moment.
Yeah, and I feel like it's definitely a thing recently where restaurants or food chains tend to like hit two birds with one stone. And any product that they've got that's vegetarian on the menu, they'll also make it vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're a large food chain like Pizza Express, for example, if you're including a vegan pizza in your menu or a vegan meal, it's definitely not going to be as much of an inconvenience as it would be if you were like a small cafe, an independent cafe, for example. But then again, I feel like if you're a large scale chain like Pizza Express, you're definitely
You're not expected.
expected.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're a large scale restaurant, you're expected to have a vegan option to cater for that many people, because if I'm guessing you're going to have a lot of stores around, and you have to have a vegan option. Whereas in like a small little cafe, no one's going to expect, like if there's not a vegan option, no one's going to get upset basically.
Isn't there like specific vegan cafes?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Is there any in Nottingham?
Yeah, there
There
is.
definitely-
I found
yeah, you
one.
found one, didn't you?
It was called Number 12.
Ooh.
What was it? Was it a cafe or was it a restaurant?
I think it's a pub.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh,
A vegan
I've
pub.
never heard of a vegan pub.
Can you even get like vegan alcohol?
Yeah. I
Wait,
think
yeah, 'cause,
alcohol is
like-
vegan.
Yeah,
Wait.
because like vodka's made from like potatoes and stuff, isn't it?
I know they do
So-
like gluten-free sort of beers and that, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of like the stuff that goes
Yeah,
in it.
I'm gluten-free, and I get annoyed by it, to be fair. So obviously, lots of shops have the free from aisle. I know that M&S has their, what's it called, made without range. That's really good. But a lot of the products in the free from aisle, they're obviously free from. They're free from literally everything. So let's say, obviously, I'm getting a loaf of bread that'll be free from gluten, which is what I can't have. But then it'll be free from, I mean, I don't know if bread has milk in it anyway, probably a bad example, but like chocolate, for example, it'll be made vegan and gluten-free and all of these other things. I mean, chocolate naturally is gluten-free, also a bad example. But my point is they make it not just gluten-free, they'll make it dairy-free, vegan, they'll make it...
Yeah, but then what's it made out of then? Like, surely
you
need
tell
something
me, I
in
know.
there.
And it's normally more money, isn't it? Like,
Oh my God,
Oh my
a
God.
loaf of bread. How much do you pay for a loaf of bread in the supermarket?
I think about £1.40 normally.
Guess how
thereabouts.
much I would pay for a loaf of bread?
How much?
£3.50.
Down.
What, for like just a regular size loaf of bread?
Well, they do. There's a couple brands on the market. There's like Warburton's does gluten free, and that's the one that's like it was £3 in Sainsbury's. I went, and it was like £3.50 or something ridiculous. I know, it breaks the bank. But then and then there's a brand called Shah. I think that's how you pronounce it. But a slice of bread is literally like the size of my palm. Like like I put my bread in the toaster. And it's pathetic. It's obviously if you buy a loaf of bread, it's gone in a day.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's an exaggeration, but it's gone within a couple days because one slice is about 3 pieces of bread. Like, it's so upsetting. But even that bread it's free from everything, and it annoys me a little bit because what if I don't want it to be vegan as well as gluten free? Yeah.
Alex, that's really confused me. What do they actually use to make these products then if it's not got anything in it?
I think vegan chocolate obviously will have like coconut in it or like a milk alternative.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing that weirds me out. All the different milk alternatives. How are you getting milk from an almond? You tell me.
Yeah, how are you milking oats?
I know.
How does that even work?
And also another thing, gluten-free oat milk. That's the thing. Oats in itself is wheat, which is gluten. So I can't have like basic porridge oats, but I can have gluten-free oats. And I looked on the ingredients of gluten-free oats, thinking it'd be like artificially manufactured. The ingredients was gluten-free oats. So I have no idea what oat it is. I mean, it's got to be a different type of like grain or something, but.
Yeah, but if it's all going to be like wheat, then...
I know. I think maize is gluten-free, so it could be... But then why doesn't it say maize? I don't know. It's a bit odd. But yeah, they make oat milk. Some oat milks, which are obviously oat milk, I would assume would have gluten in it. You look at the ingredients and it's gluten-free, which I think is really, really misleading. But so back to
the vegan part.
So back to veganism. Do we feel like veganism is a trend? A bit controversial, but I feel like it's become a trend. What were you about to say, Ty?
I feel like it's 50-50. Because like, there are some, obviously, because like it's very popular on social media.
Yeah.
There are some people that are definitely doing it for like, as a trend, but at the same time, I feel like there are a lot of people that are actually passionate about it, like caring about animals and the environment.
Yeah, I do feel like there's a spectrum of veganism in itself. Like vegans you see online maybe are a lot more strict than the people that we know who are vegan.
Yeah,
like the boy that I know, one of my friends who's vegan, he obviously doesn't not use leather. Like he's not that strict, but he won't have eggs. He won't have milk. He's as strict as he can make it out. But I feel like if he has to eat an egg, he'll eat an egg, basically.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think like veganism is becoming more popular due to social media.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like all the influencers trying to make it popular.
If you had to become vegan, could you do it?
No.
If you had to become vegetarian, could you do it?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. I could probably be.
Because have you tried corn?
Oh my God, corn chicken nuggets are so good.
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoy corn. And there's a certain brand of vegetarian burgers. It's called like Leisa. What is it?
Linda McCartney.
Linda McCartney.
They have like the mozzarella burgers.
Yes, so good. I really enjoy them. In the summer, my mum will get me those. Like rather than meat burgers, I'd rather eat a vegetarian burger than I would.
Yeah, but that sounds nicer. Like just a cheeseburger.
Yeah, mozzarella tastes really good.
So good.
But another a problem is with vegan food is that there's some brands called I know that there's one called Not, and then something. So it'll be like it's called Not, or like this is not.
Oh,
and then so it'll be like this is not bacon, this is not chicken. And that's okay. But when brands are saying a vegan sausage, but it's not a sausage, is it? Because it's not, or vegan bacon, it's not bacon. So how it gets to a point when it's like, how are you calling it bacon when it's not bacon in itself? I feel like it's...
True.
But then again...
It looks weird colours, doesn't it, when you see it?
Yeah, they're almost like pink. It's a
just
bit
like
gross.
the alternative of it, but then again, it's just not.
Like a cheap knockoff.
But then again, I do sympathise with them because what are they supposed to call it if not vegan bacon? Like vegan suspicious pork?
Vegan
like,
strips of
vegan
whatever.
strips of meat, like
just mysterious substance.
I do. I feel like social media has pushed the idea of vegans being, like you said, Ty, very left wing, very like modern, very hippie, when in reality the people that we know in real life aren't anything like that.
Oh,
I was just going off my friend. She's definitely like that.
Is she?
But
really?
Like, yeah.
Well, to be fair, my vegan flatmate seems like that as well.
Really? Maybe it's vegetarian people I know. They're not as... But both vegetarian people, both my vegetarian friends, they're only vegetarian because they started becoming vegetarian when they were younger and they've just never stopped. And I was like, so is there no real reason? And they're like, no, I just don't really, like I've just always been this way. And I'm just thinking, when it gets to a point where you just need to kind of snap out of it.
Yeah.
Well, my sister only became vegetarian just because she's literally obsessed with animals. Like she's just...
Yeah. I feel like that's one of the main reasons why people do it. Definitely, either if it's not because of animals, it's definitely because of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I don't know how much going vegan does save the planet.
No, because most people are meat eaters.
Yeah.
So like, just one person becoming vegan doesn't really do a lot.
Isn't it something like 5% of the world is vegan? That's such a... Actually, saying that, that's not that small. That's quite a big percentage.
That's
Hang on,
probably like...
let me search it up.
500 million? Wait, how many people are even in the world?
8 billion? Oh, right, okay. It's not 5%.
Is it even lower?
Guess.
3.
2%.
No, it's less than 1% of the population.
So they're a bit irrelevant then.
Yeah, that's not a lot. Estimated that 79 million people are vegan globally. Okay, that is quite a lot.
Yeah.
What, compared to 8 billion people in the
True,
world?
very, very true. But then again, veganism is a completely westernized thing. Like, I very much doubt that third world countries are worrying about becoming vegan. Okay, so what do we feel like the future of veganism is? Do you reckon it will ever become mainstream?
I mean, there's many ways to define being mainstream. Like, a thing can be known, but at the same time, like, will it ever be accepted? I don't really think it will ever like be mainstream because, like Charmaine said, the majority of people are meat eaters.
Yeah.
So,
And I feel like you said, I think it is mainstream now. If you ask people what's a vegan, everyone will know about it.
Yeah.
But it's whether or not people are partaking in the lifestyle. Like,
it's like in the shops as well. Like there's barely anything.
Yeah, there's a big lack of vegan options available. But then again, it is true that it's less than 1%. That obviously not everything in the shops or not a lot of products in the shops are going to be vegan because it is just such a niche group of people. It's such a minority. But I feel like
an extremely vocal one.
Yeah. I feel like eventually it may grow to 2% or maybe 1% on the dot. I don't ever think that it's going to become that mainstream.
No, definitely
What about,
not.
I wonder what percent of people in the world are vegetarian?
It's probably more, I guess.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. It's 22% of the global population are vegetarian. That says quite a lot because people become vegetarian because of, well, many different reasons. Maybe they don't like eating animals, but a lot of it is to save the planet in a way. People care about the state of the climate. But that means that I can't be asked.
Do you have anything to say, Matthew?
It's like vegan's probably going to come, like more people are going to do it, but maybe like before they go like fully vegan, they'll probably like do vegetarian
Exactly, yeah.
first.
And I feel like people who are vegetarian when they get older, or people who are vegan when they get older, they'll fall out of the vegan lifestyle. There's only so long you can really go. And they'll probably fall into vegetarianism or maybe just back to a regular diet. So I feel like the number of people being vegan is always going to fluctuate because there's going to be people becoming vegan as much as there are people falling out of the lifestyle.
And it probably also depends if you go on holiday as well. Like what you
Yeah, that's a big problem. Like when I go on holiday, there's very rarely, well, depending on which country, but not many gluten-free options. It's not as big of a thing in other countries as it is in England.
It's like all-inclusive places. They just have so much like meat options.
Yeah, like continental breakfast, for example. That's all meat. I feel like it's definitely meat being such a big part of our diet is definitely like goes down to history.
Yeah.
Like it's always been a thing. It's always been around.
Definitely.
So it's definitely something that's hard to break.
Yeah. I feel like being vegan as well definitely puts a strain on your money, just because I'm assuming it's the same as it is with gluten-free, that it's going to be a lot more expensive to buy a pack of vegan sausages than it is regular meat sausages. Yeah. So maybe that's why people will fall out of being vegan, just because of how much it costs.
Cost of living crisis.
Yeah, exactly. And that brings us on to introducing our guest speaker. So on today's pod, we have Leisa Pickles. Hello.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
How are you today?
Very good, thank you. A little bit cold, but there we go.
Snowed last night as well. I didn't know that. I woke up and it was snowy. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Leisa Pickles, as you've rightly pointed out, and I run my own business called Find Me the Leads, supporting food and drink producers with sales outreach. So supporting emerging, established, yet to be created brands who want to get their products into more retail outlets.
Okay. Have you worked with any brand names that we would know of, or you're not allowed to say?
So I have worked with a couple that you've probably heard of. So have you heard of Fentiman soft drinks?
Yeah, like they do Dandelion and Burdock.
Correct, yes, they do. So they've been one of my clients.
Wait, did you just say dandelion?
Dandelion and Burdock.
Oh,
yeah, I know it sounds dodgy, but it is really nice.
Yeah, don't mistake it for cola.
Tastes like flat Coke in a way.
Oh my gosh,
bit flowery. It's quite nice.
I'll have to try it.
It's an acquired taste.
Yeah,
I've
for
heard
sure.
of Burdock.
Have you had it?
No, I haven't had it, but I've heard of it.
It's really nice. It's okay. And which shops do you help brands get into?
So mostly, I probably should backtrack a little bit. So prior to establishing my own business, which I did in 2018, I actually worked for Mars Incorporated, so spanning a number of product categories, so ranging from Mars bars to pedigree dog food to Uncle Ben's rice and Dolmio sauces. And in that life, I worked on a number of grocery accounts, so Asda, Morrison's Co-op, and Sainsbury, not Sainsbury, Safeway, as it was back in the day, that no longer exists. And so that was a very grocery-focused role, supporting our brands to get into or to increase their listings within supermarkets. And nowadays, I work mostly with brands who are at the start of their journey. So they're just starting out, growing, getting established. And actually, their aspiration is to ultimately get their grocery/supermarket listing. But where they are now is very much in the early stages, and they're trying to get their products into more what we call specialty retailers. So that is farm shops, delis, garden centres, independent retail outlets. So essentially anywhere where people go to buy and consume food that isn't a supermarket. So that sort of arena is my playground currently, and very much one that I very much love, because that from a consumer point of view is very much a discovery zone. So where lots of consumers go to discover new and emerging brands.
Yeah. Do lots of brands reach out to you? Do you have to deny some?
Oh gosh, all the time. And mostly So the classic question is, so there's two things. A, I want to be listed everywhere.
Yeah.
So there's a long answer to that, but I won't go into that today in the interest of time. And the second is, I want to get into supermarkets. And whilst that should always be your aspiration, I should just point out it isn't for all brands. Some brands absolutely no way do not want to go there. There are a number of steps to take in the run-up to that ultimate goal of a supermarket listing. And you need to secure those first to demonstrate that there's a demand for your product, that customers are prepared to pick it up and buy it, and probably most importantly, that they're coming back to buy it again. So essentially repeat purchasing it, because getting it on the shelf is one thing, keeping it there is another thing. And that's actually really important, because you only get one shot at a listing, really.
Yeah. So saying a brand does well in a shop that you've managed to get it into, does that, so if keeps getting sold, does that mean you get some of the revenue?
No, so that's not the way that it works.
Okay.
And this is, it's interesting because I work in sales, and there are a number of ways to do sales. And one is, commission sales. So essentially you get a commission or a kickback or whatever you want to call it for every sale, or indeed there is such a thing as an introducer fee. So if you introduce a brand to what then becomes a customer, you get a fee for doing that. That's not the way that I work. I work on a fixed fee, so a project cost. So I'll support a brand for a period of time. It's my job to set them up for success, which they then go on and build upon. I'm not really into, I want to siphon off, an element of your profits going forward. That's not the way that it works.
Yeah.
Who are you sort of currently working with, like ready meal sort of wise?
So I have actually got a ready meal producer on my books at the minute called Jess Cooks, who makes ready meals specifically aimed at children. So high quality, clean label, meaning no nasty, so no artificial colours, preservatives or additives, and very much a solution for busy parents who want to still provide their children with high quality and nourishing food, but don't necessarily have the time to prepare it from scratch.
Yeah. What's their aim? Are they trying to get into supermarkets or?
So I think it's an evolution, really. And I think, so probably broadly speaking, within the hospitality sector, not in all places, but in a number of places, the skill level of the staff that work in the kitchen is not always the highest. So actually what they need to be able to do is prepare meals quickly and ensure that every single meal that goes out is of the same quality. So, you think about a restaurant chain, for example. I'll just use Pizza Express as an example. If you go in a Pizza Express in Nottingham or you go in a Pizza Express in Newcastle, what you get is the same, because they've all been trained to the same standards to deliver it to the same. And this is where these ready meals are starting to play a role, in that they enable the restaurant, the cafe, whatever it is, to put a high quality child's meal on the menu, which isn't chicken nuggets and chips, but it doesn't require a skilled or highly trained chef in the kitchen to prepare it.
Yeah. I didn't know that was like a thing.
Yeah, well, I think for ready meals, they do play a number of different roles. It's not just about convenience. For some people, it's around ensuring that it's got, the right number of calories, the right level of nutrition. And essentially, it's almost a solution to what is, not a problem, but I want a meal that's got this amount of calories, this amount of protein, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I'll just buy it and it does it for me.
I definitely feel like the word ready meals has negative connotations.
It's definitely evolved. So yes, it absolutely used to. I mean, when I was a student, we used to call them ping meals because you cooked them in the microwave. That's not the case anymore. No. Actually, you can cook them in the oven. I'm probably one of a minority that doesn't have an air fryer, so I don't know whether you can cook them in the air fryer. But actually, they have not only grown in popularity, but grown in reputation as well, from something that was cheap and cheerful, aimed at, students living on a low budget, to actually food connoisseurs that want to treat themselves to a high quality bistro style meal at home, but they don't want to spend hours slaving over a hot stove to cook it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know that Matthew and I both used to work at Waitrose, and they have, what's it called? Charlie
Bingham's,
yeah. And those definitely aren't cheap ready
totally.
meals.
Are they like fancy ready meals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like £10 for a single portion. Well, not it's like £9 something for a single portion.
gosh.
But it is.
Damn.
I never ventured out and bought one.
Yeah, and I think as well, you have to think about it from they really span the whole customer demographic. So if you are, on the a younger age, you don't know how to cook, you don't have a lot of money to spend, then a ready meal, delivers for you. But actually, if you're more towards the older end of the range spectrum, you want high quality, you want good quality ingredients, you might live on your own. So actually, you don't want to generate food waste. You just want a meal for one. And that is what they deliver on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Have you worked with any vegan brands?
So I don't seek out vegan brands, and that's not because I have anything against them. It's because lots of the brands that I work with are vegan by default.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't talk about them as being a vegan brand. We talk about them as a brand that happens to be suitable for vegans or vegan friendly.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is that even though veganism is an often spoken about topic, is a relatively, on-trend topic, it's still less than 5% of the population.
Yeah.
So actually, if you're a food and drink brand and you want to, grow your business, drive your sales, get more people buying your product again and again and again, why would you speak
Limit
to
yourself.
only 5% of the population when
Mm.
actually you can speak to 95% of the population?
Doesn't make sense for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's really important to remember that in the context of being vegan, specifically aimed at vegans. It's such a broad topic, because there's people who are plant-based but not vegan. There are people who are flexitarians, which essentially means, they might have one day of the week where they eat, vegan food only, just out of preference. And I think it's important. Certainly, I don't like to label, if it's good quality food that happens to be vegan, I'm going to choose it, not because it's vegan, but because I like the sound of it or how it tastes.
I feel like it definitely limits a brand if they're labelling themselves just as purely vegan.
I think so too. But I think as well, we talk a lot in food about, not just in food, but in, sales in general and marketing, about identifying your ideal client so that you can speak specifically to them. And then we also talk about, understanding your niche. So what is your niche within the market? So, back to the answer to the question when you said, do you have to turn brands away? And I said, I often get them who say, I want to be everywhere. Well, your ideal customer does not shop everywhere. So put yourself where they are, because that's where they're going to pick up your products. But if you decide, I'm going to be a vegan brand, bold, loud, proud, and I want to dominate that category, then why not go for it? If that's what you want to do. But actually, I think that if you want sales and if you want growth, you have to go after the 95%, not the 5%.
Yeah. So on your own podcast, do you what do you talk about on there?
So I have a podcast with my buddy who is called Vic Taylor. So she is the marketing to my sales. I am the sales to her marketing. Our podcast is called Scale Up Your Sales and Marketing, and it's aimed specifically at small business owners who have to do their own sales and marketing, but doesn't necessarily come naturally to them. So we talk very practical, break it down into these are some top tips and techniques you can use as a small business owner to own your own and master your own sales and marketing processes.
So let's say I was a small business, a small vegan business, and you were giving me tips on how to get into Waitrose, for example. What are your top 5 things that you would tell me to do?
So I would say, right, I'm going to count these on my hand so that I know that I'm answering the question. So first, you need to demonstrate why they should have your product in their store. So you need to go into their stores and find out what currently exists in the category that your product is likely to go into. So if it's chilled, check out the chillers. If it's frozen, check out the freezers. If it's ambient, look on the shelves. So you almost need to visualize where your product will sit when you eventually get that listing. And you need to demonstrate that to them. You need to demonstrate you've done your research and you're not just targeting them amongst 100 others. You're like, I'm targeting you, Waitrose, because I really want you to list me to make them feel special. You need to be patient and persistent in equal measures. It doesn't happen quickly. In fact, it takes a long time. The longest I tried to, that's a lie. I'm working with a client currently that I first met 4 years ago. And it's taken that long for them to actually, and it's not because it just takes that long, but you have to be patient. Third, you have to just be realistic about your ability to deliver. So when you're getting into a supermarket of that scale, that is big volumes. Can you manage that?
Yeah.
Because if you get in and you mess it up, you won't get asked back again.
Yeah.
And actually that's not what you want to be. So that's that. You need to also be prepared to do the work post-launch. So as I said earlier on, it's not just about getting the product onto the shelf in the first place. It's about keeping it there. So what does that look like? Yeah. How will you support it from a marketing point of view, from a promotion point of view? And then I think you just need to think about what next. So now that you've got that Waitrose listing, how can you use that to unlock other opportunities? So how can you use that to showcase your brand and your product to get you into other places?
Okay. You said 4 years for that one brand. Is that the normal timeline, or have brands managed to do it in a lot shorter period of time?
No. So in terms of it depends. So with large, if we're going back to the Waitrose /supermarket scenario, they tend to have range reviews that happen at set times throughout the year. I mean, you think about it, you both said you've worked in Waitrose. You can't be constantly relaying the fixture, taking stuff off, putting new stuff on. So these planned range reviews happen at set times during the course of the year. And actually, they might not always happen in your category. Like, for example, when I worked in confectionery, when I was at Mars, we didn't have a range review every year. We probably only had a full range review once every 2 or 3 years. But we did have other things like one in, one out, where it was one product's coming out and in its place is going another. So it's always about timing. So either the time's not right because we don't have a range review, the timing's not right because we don't have the budget, or the timing's just not right. And that's why you have to be realistic about how long it's going to take and stick with it.
What is your favourite food?
My favourite food? I'm actually quite basic in my food choices, to be honest. I definitely go quantity. So I like a good hearty meal. Do you know what I absolutely love and I think are totally underrated is a good jacket potato.
Yeah. But do you have sweet potato or normal potato?
Normal potato. And I just love, I love the fact that it's just a humble potato, but when you add the other stuff to it, it just makes it into something incredible. Like my favourite is cheese and coleslaw, but I'm also a fan of beans. I like just anything. I just love the fact that it's you know, it's just filling and it's easy and it's, it all starts with the humble potato. What about you? What's your favourite food?
I have a lot of favourite foods.
Do you?
Spaghetti bolognese, carbonara.
I've got a question for you about your spaghetti bolognese. Do you eat it with a spoon and fork or a knife and fork?
A knife and fork.
Do you really?
Yeah, I eat a knife and fork.
So you don't do the twiddling the spaghetti on your spoon?
My parents give me a spoon, but I always go and get a knife. I can't do it.
You sound like my husband. And he goes, I'm not Italian. It's like...
Do you use the spoon?
Oh, God, totally.
Wow.
That's how it's...
quite skillful.
Oh, I love it. And, well, it also slows down the eating process as well.
Yeah.
To be fair, I've never heard of this concept before.
You know what?
Really?
Fork in the spoon. I just basically...
Traditional.
Just fork.
Get stuck in.
Yeah.
Do you do cheese on it?
I used to, but not anymore.
People who put cheddar on it, it's disgraceful.
God, what's your cheese choice then?
Has to be Parmesan.
Yeah.
Has to be Parmesan.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So that brings us to the end of this podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Hope you've enjoyed it. Join us next week for another episode of The Bite is Right.